Hi, welcome back. In this video, I am working through another Project Life spread in my 2022 Project Life album. This is the week of April 11th through 17th. And for this week, I have quite a few photos. Some I've already cropped, some I need to crop down in a minute here. And I have my notes already written out. And what I'm going to be using for products this week are a collection of my Studio Calico kits from 2022. So when I get the kits, I do use them for an entire spread. I have used my kits for January, February, March, and April so far. I use them for one weekly spread within that month, but there are so many products in those kits that I can't just use them for one spread because I will have too much left over to put back into my stash. So what I'm going to do for this week is dig through all 4 of those kits and figure out what I want to use to document this week of Easter. Also, because this is the week of Easter, I might dig into my chipboard stash or some of my Allie Edwards products to get some specific Easter or spring themed products that will work to document those stories, because I have been collecting the stories by the month kits for a number of years, and they always come with a lot of Easter theme products, and I don't necessarily use them all. So I'm also going to look through those. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and start putting this spread together.
Okay, so as usual, I start by laying out all of my photos, cropping them down and getting them in an approximate position of where I want them on the spread. As I mentioned in the introduction here, I have a lot of photos this week, so I'm not going to have a ton of space for journaling cards or filler cards, but that's fine. I'd rather include a lot of my stories. So what I'm doing here, flipping through some of the cards in my stash that are spring themed. If you missed my video where I explained how I organized my Project Life cards from my stash, I do have that linked up in the corner. Now I'm going through those Studio Calico kits, as I mentioned, and just selecting cards that I think will work for this spread. I do only have a few pockets to fill, but I did want to try to use up some of the pieces of this kit. So I'm just looking through and seeing what will work. A lot of the colors coordinate across the different Studio Calico kits, so it doesn't really matter that I'm pulling from a variety of kits. It's still going to kind of look good. And because I have that Easter card that has that pink, I'm kind of keeping that in mind and pulling things that have pink on them. So I do want to use these 3 empty spots I have as journaling because I did have quite a bit to say this week, and I only have those 3 pockets, as I mentioned. I'm still continuing to go through all of these cards. I had 4 kits to pull from, and I'm just really enjoying flipping through all of the different products. And like I said, I went with some pink things. I also pulled out that one black card there because I wanted to turn it into an embellishment. So now I'm digging through my chipboard organization. You can't see it in the video, but right below my desk, I have a drawer with my chipboard organization, and I do have a video showing that I will also link up in the corner. But I went through the spring themed ones and the friend themed ones to pull out a few that coordinated with the stories I wanted to tell this week. So now I'm trying to decide how I want to kind of embellish my cards beyond the chipboard pieces that I've pulled out. I'm looking through the chipboard and the Studio Calico kits, and nothing really was striking my attention. So I decided to move on and punch out this card, which was what I had originally planned for it. And then I found that chipboard piece fit perfectly in the middle. And I just loved the way it looked so much that I decided that I want to repeat this treatment on multiple cards. I don't have other cards that have a circle printed on them like that, but I decided to just use some patterned cards and punch out circles from them. So I'm just going back through a lot of the cards to figure out what will work now that I have this new idea. I also pulled out that star chipboard from my stash there because I wanted another chipboard to do this with on that photo of my coffee walking into work in the morning. So I did this one little pattern here, this pattern circle, and added the star. Even though it's not a circle, it's still repeating that same treatment. It doesn't have to be exactly the same to get that same effect that I have the same treatment in multiple places on the spread to have some cohesion. So now I'm moving to my journaling. This card right here, I journaled about my Friday because I had a really long day. I went to work, I went and got groceries, I had a Zoom call with some of my craft friends, and then I went out to dinner with one of my friends that had moved away and was just passing through town. So it was great to be able to see her and catch up. So I journaled all about this here and then added a chipboard piece across the bottom from my stash. And that just told the story of that Friday. And I do have a couple photos here from that day that are near it. Now I'm moving on over here to the portion of the spread that's about Easter. And so I'm going to journal about Easter Sunday. I have those photos that are around this card that have to do with what we did on Easter. We went to brunch. I got my daughter an Easter basket and I have that photograph there. So I'm just kind of journaling about what our day was like on Easter. And as usual, for my Project Life spreads, I tend to do, the longer journaling for those bigger stories. And then I have a bullet point card for all of the shorter stories. I pulled over these stickers from Planner Kate and there's little stars, and I'm using the pink ones to make bullet points for some of my stories that I wanted to include for this week. And I decided to go with the pink because it's just coordinating with all the journaling cards that I pulled out to use for this spread, which I thought was just a very good Easter spring color, and it matches my daughter's Easter basket there as well. So next I'm going to add some alphabet stickers onto these two photos. So these alpha stickers came in one of the Studio Calico kits that I was trying to work through, and I hadn't even touched them before, and I absolutely love the font and I love the color, and I thought it went well with that star chipboard that I had already pulled and the photo of the daffodil. So I decided to use it to add some titles onto two of my photos. So what I'm doing is placing these stickers on a backer from a transparent or the stamps, the clear stamps, because then I can center it on the photo and kind of see where it's going to be before I press it down. I also pulled over this chipboard that had these little arrows, and I thought that those would be a good embellishment to add next to my alphabets. So for the second photo, I'm writing on here, Hello Spring, because it's a photo of my yard and the first signs of spring with the daffodils coming in, which are always the first flower that we get. And so I'm just pressing that on there, following the same format that I did for organization and adding the arrow chipboard again and just kind of messing with the placement there a little bit. So now I think my spread is pretty much done, but what I realized is those circle treatment that I have on the left side, I have 3 of them. I don't have any on the right, and I wanted to balance it out a little bit more. So I'm just adding one more with another chipboard from my stash, and then I'm going to call this spread good and slip all of the photos and cards into the pocket and just trimming them down as they fit and just making sure that I like everything. I went back and added a little star on there, but otherwise I really love how the spread came together, and I love the opportunity to use up some of the cards and chipboard in my stash. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for being here.